So I am going to be telling you guys about my pregnancy journey from the time I started that I found I had a positive and then going to currently. So yeah, I don't know how many of y'all have ever had a crazy encounter of finding out that they're pregnant. I still to this day just don't understand my pregnancy story. I just don't. So I found out that I was pregnant technically like the first week of July, which is crazy because we're going on the time that I found out when I was pregnant. It was like crazy. I was at work and I was talking to one of my coworkers and she's like, girl, you gotta go take a test. And I was like, I'm in denial about it. I was in a lot of stress. So I just thought it was like a number of things. She said, let me ask you a question. Is the bottom of your stomach at night hot? I just put my daughter back down to sleep and she's the most difficultest to go to sleep. Oh my God. Anyways, and I was like, yeah, why? And she's like, girl, you need to go take a test. And I'm somebody where I barely sweat. It takes a whole decade for me to freaking break out in a sweat. That's just how I am. I don't smell. I don't have that strange body odor. I don't know. I guess my genes. I don't know. And I was at work and I just break out in sweats. I had hot flashes and then my nose sometimes would be like bleeding, and I don't even suffer from that. I think I had like a few times when I was a kid. That was about it. I went home and I took a test and I said, oh shit. And I called her father up and I was letting him know what was going on, and he was of course not the happiest. I wasn't expecting any different because nor was I. You know, I was in a really good place in my life, especially with our relationship. It was just something that caught both of us off guard. I mean, when you do spend a lot of time doing it, you know, and that is something we did quite some time, it is something you can't really prevent. I mean, I did take my precautions that I needed. I didn't think at the time using like the contraceptive of condoms was necessary because of the amount of times again we were doing it. I feel like that's just a waste. Why take something off and then put another right on after? I just did not feel like that was the need. And so I was at work going into another week and a half later. I was at work and it was a Sunday morning, and I'm talking to my coworker again, just explaining what's been going on. And I got to the point where I had such severity of cramping. I couldn't even like stand up straight. You know, I was working behind a register doing orders in a window, etc. And next thing you know, I'm bleeding. I call up her father and I said, listen, I know like the situation, this and that, but I need you to come get me because I'm not capable of walking right now home. Because where I worked, it was literally walking distance. It was not that far from where I lived, so I walked to work. He took me home, and again that day, yes, we were intimate. You know, you would think with the circumstances of how I'm feeling and whatever, we were definitely intimate. So I had in my mind thought I possibly just lost it because I had the chills. I had like some symptoms that were pointing to that. Going a little fast forward, going into like the beginning of August where my period is expected to come. I have had no period yet. And I'm like, what is going on? I'm confused. I ended up one night in the emergency room via ambulance because I was so dehydrated. I think I've had so many scary encounters in my life, but I think by far most that was another second time that I was close to death. I think because of how dehydrated I was. I had found out that night that I was diagnosed with mild to severe HG. So if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's basically where you're constantly throwing up. You can't drink water, you can't drink ginger ale, like it's very rare. And with me, unfortunately, I was having a reaction to drinking Pedialyte. I could not drink Pedialyte at all. They asked me, how far along are you? I said I'm probably close to almost 13 weeks. And they're like, and I was getting nervous and I was getting emotional, and I was just like, because I was just in this hospital room, franticking, like sick, alone, and I just didn't know what to do. And they said, well, you are definitely pregnant, but you are a lot less further than you are. And I said, can you please like explain to me, because I don't understand. They're like, you're about 7.5 weeks. Your heartbeat is running about 147 beats per minute. They told me my conception date would have been around the day of her father's birthday, which her due date was the day that my biological father passed, and she was technically born on the day of her father's mom's birthday. So after finding that diagnosis out, we were trying to make a decision on where we were going with our journey. Like I said, he had waited so long for me to just be with me, and I don't think I've ever been mentally or physically ever happy with anybody like I was with him. I mean, our chemistry was really great. I knew him through a mutual ex of mine, and I remember one night, it was the middle of the night, and he came to my room because I was staying with him for a little while, and that night we just clicked. Like, it just happened, and ever since that night that it happened, we just took every minute we could. And I'm a person that I'm against abortion. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with abortion. I'm not saying, I'm against it to anybody. It's just, I believe everybody has their different outlooks on it. I was pretty much in that stage where I was wanting to do that because I wasn't in the mental state or physical state of having a child. The place that I was living in wasn't suited for a child, especially a newborn by 4 more. I kept calling clinics. I was refusing to even decide to do the actual procedure. I was wanting to do a pill, but nobody had any appointments available, and I felt like, if this is what God wants me to do, then it's meant to be. And I felt like no matter what, it wasn't happening. We were very, heated, upset. We were still going through our relationship. We were still doing everything. We were that type of couple that we would go into the gas station, because we had this thing where we always get our slushie, we always get our little thing, and people would automatically knew we were together. We were just that happy couple, like we never fight. If we had a fight, it was the simplest, pettiest thing ever, but it never lasted. We never got mad, nothing. He's been like the amazingest support system I could have from a partner. I had decided to pack up my stuff and leave and catch a plane that was taking off at 5 in the morning. It wasn't that I couldn't afford my situation where I was living or anything like that. I think when you have another party involved that's not even old enough to understand, sometimes you go to protect them. I grew up without parents, I knew that it was going to be very hard on me. I knew it was going to be challenging, especially on my relationship, because I love this person more than anything. I mean, I've been in some shitty predicaments. I've had some kind of good relationship, but we're also bad. And with him, it's just like, I've never felt the way I felt. And leaving, it took a toll on both of us physically and emotionally. And the simple fact that we're kind of living and going in this relationship like a secret is hard. So once I left, I was constantly sick. I think I was admitted 3 more times into the hospital. I had to get more fluids in me. I was losing drastic weight. I don't think I gained weight until about almost 7.5 months pregnant, like steady weight. I was on a high-risk pregnancy as well because of my blood pressure. By about 7 months, I started preparing for my daughter to come into this world. I bought everything on my own with whatever little income I had. At 8 months pregnant, I did go see her father. You know, I felt like that was something we both needed. It did not go as planned because I feel like things just happened for a reason. I came back, and from there on, I was just prepping for the rest of the arrival of my daughter. She ended up coming via being induced because of my high blood pressure. She was thankfully, by the grace of God, born healthy. She was born on April 15th at 9:11 p.m. My grandparents were there that night. They actually decided to come and visit me, and it was a very beautiful moment. I never had a mom, so like that's something I dreamt to be. And then 3 weeks later, my grandfather had passed. So I was doing fine with postpartum and everything, but 3 weeks later, the sudden passing of my grandpa happened, and it took a major toll on me. I was basically left to grieve on my own. You know, you think, you know, when a passing happens, it brings people close together. In my situation, it was not like that. My family is not the best, you know, they have their differences. I try to stick to myself as much as possible. Right now, the situation with me and her father we are trying to figure out where we're going with our relationship and how we are going to be a co-parent with her. I am going to go down to Florida in the ending of August. September 14th would make 2 years for us to be together because we decided to restart our relationship and just like have a fresh start. So we are going to be figuring that out. At the end of the day, we just want what's best for our daughter. I mean, this is his first daughter as well, so